All right, we're going live. Let everybody hop in. Give them a moment or two. Make sure everybody's inside of the Facebook group, on YouTube, multiple locations. All right, let everybody hop in. Give folks a few moments. Oops. Give everybody a chance. Okay. Hello to those who are on Instagram. Good to see you guys there. Facebook group, YouTube as well. All right. Okay, we're gonna get ready to get going here in about a little less than a minute actually. So let folks file in to where they are. Send some emails out as well. Hopefully you all receive those. Just as a reminder, I'll probably do a better job of sending those maybe even earlier in the day for folks, just as an early reminder. But I'm learning and working at the same time. So bear with me on that. All right. So we're just gonna kind of dig in a little bit here, and we're gonna just talk. You know, a couple of things. I want to share a piece of an interview that I did with a player who played at Niagara University up in New York, Stephen Dillon. I just think this little, it's about a minute clip or so. I'll play that. I think that's just a good time of us chatting a little bit, and I'll fill in the back side of that after I play that, and a little bit of the front side of that. So for those of you, I've been on I was on vacation with my family last week, so I missed you all then. But back in the saddle here, came home from Houston, Texas to hurricane at the time, Debbie, and now it is turned into a tropical storm. So I live down here in the southeast, so we've had nothing but rain the whole way through. And so I actually titled this one, Am I Hanging Clothes or Hitting Golf Balls? So in our backyard, literally what we created was a hitting net out of an old sheet and a clothes hanger, like a clothing line. My son was out there nailing it into the ground, nailing it into the post as the rain was coming, and just knowing that we would not be able to get to the golf course anytime soon. Here, everything has been closed for the last really week almost, with the rain and torrential downpours and just the state of emergency. So sometimes you just have to do what you can do. And I always remind specifically our kids about the story that Annika Sorenstam shared with my daughter of when she first kind of started golfing. Actually, was this idea that obviously she is from Sweden and it's cold, and there's many months where there is no golf course available, and people were asking her, the young ladies were asking, well, how did you practice? And she's like, I got an old mattress and I put it in our garage or outside sometimes even, and I just hit balls against that mattress, just continuing to work when she could with the limited resources that she had at the time. And so the cool thing about that is sometimes you have to make do with what you have. And so that's literally why I wrote, Am I hanging clothes or hitting balls? Someone had asked that of me. They saw the picture that I had, and then they had asked a question. Is like, I mean, it's raining all the time. I was like, yeah, but this is we're just using this as a hitting net. There's a here in Savannah, actually, that I live in. There's one indoor facility. So shout out to Paul Johnson, who's out there. We might be using your facility tomorrow. It's an indoor space where you can do lots of things. He's got simulators and things of that sort in there. So that's a really cool opportunity. I'm looking forward to getting our kids over there to check it out and hit some balls and play some of those simulated golf courses. So that'll be really cool. So for those of you who are inside of the Facebook group, as I share often, is that inside of the group itself is content directed and geared toward you. In there, if you are following me on Instagram and you're watching this live on Instagram and you want to simply hop in to that Facebook group inside or inside that inside my link there in my bio is the actual link directly into the Facebook group. JP, good to see you out there. I know you're playing some of the APGA stuff, and hopefully you're continuing to do amazing things and continuing to work on your game and just being a forward face for us in that space. And I know your time will continue to come as you continue to put in the work. So this one would pertain to you, like I shared a minute ago. But what we're looking to do, if you're on Instagram and you want to hop into the group specifically where these videos actually stay live or logged in, that link is in my bio there. I'll put that again at another time in there. But I know for those of you who are on YouTube, same thing. And then inside of my Facebook group specifically, if you're on my page on Facebook, you can hop in that group as well. So thank you guys for joining me today. So again, with the Olympics going on, as I have shared, fortunately this year I had a couple of Olympians out there in France, and so that was always very cool. And we're continuing to wrap things through. I know for those of you who are watching or have watched, I won't do any spoiler alerts, but you got to watch the USA men's basketball game. That was quite the treat. Because you'll see a test, really a test and of mental fortitude. And I just love sport, especially at this time of the year when there is an Olympic activity going on or these different sports that people don't see. They don't really truly understand, the mental side of things. And you train years to have 1, 2, 3, 4 races or 3 or 4 routines or a couple of competitions or a couple of games, and you're training, and then you get there, and just getting there is a huge accomplishment, not only for our United States athletes, but for athletes all over the world. They go through their own level of qualifying and different things as well. So once you get there, that's the win. But then anything after that, I know oftentimes the athletes don't share those details, but literally anything after that is also a win. Specifically, if you are able to place 1, 2, 3, 4, even, because you realize that you're one of the best in the world. And that's a pretty unique space. So kudos to those Olympians that are out there putting in the work and recognizing that the mental side of things, that mental game plan, that mental mind, that mindset of a champion that I talk about is very, very present in the Olympics specifically. There are moments in tenths of seconds, hundreds and thousands of seconds, as we even saw in the 100-meter dash with no allows there. Those are the small things, one screw up, one screw down, one groove up, one groove down, changes your shots, changes your trajectory. Balls can go in water or go left or right, and those are the types of things that can upset you out there on the golf course. And so one of the things that we love chatting and talking through really is this understanding that sometimes you have what you have. You have the resources that you have. I am a resource for many of my clients and athletes specifically. I'm also a resource for those inside of that Facebook group. And oftentimes what I notice is that folks don't necessarily utilize their resources. And the wild thing about this, sometimes you hear it, you know it, you see it, that the mental game is something that is important. Being able to know what skills you need to work on is crucial for your success ultimately, not only in just golf, but in every sport. And specifically, the unique thing that Noah Lyles has been highlighting is that he's been working with a sports psychologist through the USOC, and here in the United States here, and then recognizing that that is something that he talks to. He has a therapist. He speaks to her often and talks through some things, and it prepares him and gets him prepared for and ready for these events mentally. And so physically, you can do all that you can do, but mentally, you can do all that you need to do too. But what I obviously find oftentimes is that this is a resource that does go unutilized. And so hopefully the connection here is good. I'm getting a little bit of a message right here, but hopefully you're able to catch in and catch on. But the beautiful thing is, again, just knowing that you may or may not only, have but so many resources, and based upon the resources that you have, you need to utilize them to their fullest ability or fullest capability, because once you do that, then you can actually begin to build the mindset of a champion that you need in order to be successful when there are struggles, when there are trials, when there are competitions where pressure exists. Suman, soon to be Olympian here in Los Angeles for sure. Young lady, she is a pistol shooter here on our team. So good to see that you joined. If you're still out there, hello to you. And so I'm just really excited about sharing some of these details. One of the things that I last left off with my group is this: we need to understand what are the mental skills that are necessary for me to be successful, and more importantly, where am I lacking or where am I strong? And so being able to understand those things is crucial. So I offer really a mental edge eval for that people can take advantage of and do and learn and begin to understand exactly where they are and where they stand. So those are some really cool things along the way. So without further ado, I'm going to throw this little clip on. It's a good one here, and hopefully our connection again is really good and strong wherever you are, wherever you're listening. And just Stephen Dillon here is a guy that I worked with, continue to work with. He played at Niagara University, a great program. But just kind of listen to him here in this clip. It's about 30 to 90 seconds, not very long, but he just kind of speaks about where he started, and then obviously, and I'll fill in kind of the where he currently is and where he has finished. So I'll add him to our stage here and just kind of let you listen just to a snippet of the interview that he and I did recently.
And I said was that first tournament, I shot a 13 on the first hole. Like,
there you go.
8 over after one. There was a par 5, OB on the right. I was like, let's just go out there and have fun. So my game definitely has improved and has changed in so many different ways. And it literally feels like yesterday, going out in the range and going to the course and just remembering all those, memories I've had, like shooting that high.
So hopefully you caught that his first collegiate golf tournament, his first hole, he got a 13. That's crazy. If you've golfed out there for any period of time, if you played sport and anything, that's crazy, right? So that means that there was an immediate failure for him that he saw right away. But the fill in on the backside of this is, as he and I have shared, and there's some more of these, some more of this interview that I'll make accessible as well. But Stephen was talking about the reason why he shared that 13 is because we were talking about where do we lack in mental skills, right? Where are the areas that we need to improve upon? How do we bounce back when we get a 13 on our first hole and for something that we've been working hard for? His story is actually, quite amazing in and of itself. He played D3 golf coming out of high school, played mostly football, so he really didn't develop his golf game as sharp or as good as he wanted to. But he was good enough to go play D3 golf. Did that. Played there for 4 years. He had a COVID year or two technically in that time. He did a gap year is what we'll call it after he graduated from his D3 school. and then went to Florida to work on his golf game. He's from the Buffalo, New York area, and worked on that game for about a full year and decided to. He had those years of eligibility, and he ended up going, being signed through the transfer portal to Niagara University, and ended up playing there for 2 seasons where we continued to work and continue. He's now a school teacher in Boston, which is really cool, and he still golfs competitively in the amateur space. So, but we had chatted because anytime that we go out and we have high goals for ourselves, we have a plan, we have some expectations we want to meet, and immediately right away you face an adversity. And so I think that one of the things that I loved is that in order to face that adversity, then continue to use the resources that were at his disposal to continue to help him fight through those things was crucial. And so understanding, like particularly in the work that I do, there's going to be physical setbacks. There's going to be score setbacks, round setbacks. I mean, there's things that happen. I mean, it's just very normal, very natural when those things occur. And so what do? Well, we start creating a plan. We start devising goals. We start having a process in place so that way when we face the adversity, when we face failure, when we know that there's going to be some type of obstacle in our way, we then have a plan for it. I call it the failure plan because our brains work really well when we have a plan for something. And I know this, and I don't often always practice this at home and marriage with kids, even in work sometimes, but I know that things are going to go wrong. I mean, that is what happens. That is the nature of life. And so because of those things will happen, because things will go wrong, if we don't have a plan, we then spin up. Our anxiety rises. Our bad habits happen more regularly. We may squeeze the club too tight. We may squeeze our stick too hard. There is so many things as the momentum of things begin to change for you out there that get in the way of you being able to be free flowing, and just being able to play or trust the process or the training that you have had over those years. And so, going back into that Olympic space just for a moment, working with those athletes for that length of period of time as they're preparing themselves for those moments, those shining moments, really is such a humbling experience, because we may spend a year or 2 or 3 for some that I've worked with, for them to have, ultimately 20 to 50 minutes of competition that they're looking to accomplish. And so, sometimes when we're thinking about this, we know that there's a necessity for what I do, and there's a necessity for making sure that you have the right person to help walk you through this space, but to make sure that we're continuing to pile through these skills so that way we can continue to have plans for them. And for those of you that I know that are out there listening, that some of your kids have worked with or working with currently, and those 9 mental skills are really, really crucial, so that way we know exactly where we're going, how we're going to get there. And also, not only just our weaknesses I always share, but oftentimes we need to know what our strengths are. Once we understand what our strengths are too, we can leverage those strengths, so that way ultimately we can improve those weaknesses. But sometimes leaning into our strengths is really important, or at least knowing what they are, because sometimes we don't even know what our strengths are or be able to play to those things. And I think that's so important as well. Not only just to continue to work on the things that we know we need to improve, but we also need to be able to maintain the strengths that we have. And so even in the mental playbook that I use, there's a chapter about maintaining the built confidence. Well, ultimately we build it up. How do we maintain it once it's built? And that's one of the crucial pieces to mental skills training and having the mindset of a champion, is how do we maintain confidence even when sometimes our outcomes, our performances aren't up to par. I'm even reminded of a conversation and session I had with a young man, and then his post was pretty funny because he didn't hit the ball very well, but he still scored great. And so, oftentimes we know those things will happen, and we might not be able to get our A game going all the time, but are we able to be competitive with our B, C, and even sometimes our D game? And that's really the world of work. That's the mental space that I talk about, that mindset of a champion, is that without your A game, everyone's great with the A game. But what do we do when we have the B game, the C game, and sometimes the D game, and making sure that we're able to really connect mentally and stay connected and stay focused when that is actually happening for us, when we know those things are going on for us. We really want to be able to stay connected into that space and to be able to understand that there is a plan in place. There's a process in place that I've worked on with Robert specifically, and I know that I get to execute it. And because we know that we have a plan that we're able to execute, that is actually what brings down the anxiety and the stress, and allows us to do things that we normally may or may not be willing or able or think that we're capable of doing. But I know that through practice and these things will definitely happen. So, if you have a question out there you're on Instagram, if you're on my Facebook group, please feel free to go ahead and just kind of shoot that toward me, and I'll make sure that I answer those questions here for everybody, or I'll post them in here as well so that everyone has an opportunity to see/read them. Or at least hear them if you're on Instagram. So good to see everybody on there on the Instagram. Thanks again for hopping in on the gram. So yeah, this has been a good one. So again, as I shared, are we using our resources that we have in front of us? Some of us are paying for resources. Some of us can make our own resources. I shared earlier in this call that my son built a hitting net out of a sheet and a clothing line because of the hurricane / now tropical storm that is just kind of rising up the East Coast here. So we've been in-house, not able to get outside as much, or definitely not able to go to the golf course. Those things will be closed because of how wet things have been. They can't put a machine out there and pick up balls. So, but we'll do all that we can. We have a putting mat here. We have a makeshift driving range that we've created, which is amazing. And so we have resources. We know what they may be, but are we utilizing those resources? And if you're looking to create the mindset of a champion, you must use the resources that you have available to you. If you don't have a resource from the mental game or mental performance coaching standpoint, I'd love to assist you and help you and walk you through what that would look like working with me. But ultimately, having just or knowing that the mental side is important isn't enough. And so we know that we have to create a plan to execute, because if we just think it's going to happen by chance, then we're leaving a lot up to chance, and no athlete really wants to leave anything up to chance. So we want to be able to create a plan and create the correct mindset to make sure that we are going about things in the way in which we should be going about them. So Junior Golf Playbook, good to see you joining there on Instagram. If you're listening to me still, just letting you know I did receive your message. I look forward to working with you or talking with you into some level of a relationship. So great site there. They're rebranding themselves there. It's an amazing thing. If you are not familiar, you can go to Junior Golf Playbook on Instagram and like them, follow their page as well. Good folks. So if anyone has some questions, again, I'm available to them. I'm ready for those. If you're out there with a couple of questions, whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook inside my Facebook group. So looking forward to hearing. I'll wait a few moments and see if there's a couple of questions before we get off. All right. Awesome. Well, I appreciate Appreciate everybody out there that joined me live on the gram, inside my Facebook group as well. I just always like to be mindful of the time. And, good luck to those that are out there playing. We have some folks playing in different places throughout the country, in different venues. Shout out to the women who are playing their Olympic rounds of golf. Make sure you guys hop in and support Team USA there as well. And I really look forward to next week as well. And there'll be a couple of posts this week. And I have some things cooking with a mental edge eval. So just know that there'll be some new things hopping into the group, and looking forward to continuing to work with you all that I'm currently working with. So enjoy your evening here on Thursday. Hopefully you are staying dry if you're south here, or if you're a little bit more north on the East Coast there, that you're experiencing a little bit of the rain, but not enough that it keeps you inside for too long. My West Coast and Central folks as well. So I'll talk with you guys soon. Again, this is Robert Price, owner of Elite Minds, always looking to help athletes turn their potential into reality. Have a wonderful evening.